He's the man, the myth, the legend. He's Zlatan Ibrahimovic. With an estimated net worth of $190 million, this Swedish soccer player gets some serious moolah. But how exactly does he spend all those millions? Stick around, because in this video, we're about to dive into his swanky lifestyle. Expect mansions, supercars, and maybe even a jet or two, because things are about to get fancy. First up, the cribs around the world. We all know Zlatan loves to talk a big game, but if you have a look at his housing purchases, you'll learn that he likes to live big too. That's just the guy's style. The AC Milan forward currently owns a 390 square meter apartment right in the center of the city of Milan. He also owns an island called Davenso near Lake Mälaren in Sweden, and a hunting lodge in the villages of Skalapansion and Svardalen. That's more than 1,000 square meters of Swedish land where he hunts and fishes for game. If a predator needs its own hunting grounds, then so does Zlatan. During his time in Manchester, he was also renting a mansion worth $6 million for £30,000 per month. Whew, this is pretty clearly a player who needs a lot of real estate. And now, a garage full of cars. If his real estate portfolio wasn't enough to wow you, Zlatan's car collection will definitely blow your mind. The most recent addition to the gallery? A sweet Ferrari SF90 Strada worth a cool $500,000 that Milan's number 11 bought himself for his birthday. He's been making a habit of these car-sized birthday spends. He bought himself a special edition of the new Porsche 911 Targa 4S for his 39th and the $1.8 million Ferrari Monza SP2 for his 38th. The man definitely likes treating himself on birthdays. You'll also find supercars like an Audi S8, a Maserati Gran Turismo, a Porsche 918 Spider, and a Lamborghini Gallardo inside Ibra's garage. It looks like the man who once called himself a Ferrari knows a thing or two about cars, or at least a thing or two about buying them. That's a car collection that'd make anyone drool. Next, a fan of luxury boats. This showboating Swede definitely likes to feel luxurious, and nothing screams luxury louder than a private yacht. Ibrahimovic actually owns a Riva 100 Corsaro, and that's a boat that's known for giving its owners a truly deluxe sailing experience. Zlatan's actually nicknamed the yacht the Unknown. Trust him to come up with the most unique names. And this is one gorgeous sailing vessel. It's an exclusive edition of one of Riva's higher-end yachts, and it's got a length of 30 meters. It can fit parties of up to 12 people on board, and Ibra pays an 8-member crew to serve the passengers. The ship is also equipped with a powerful engine that allows it to reach speeds of up to 27.5 knots. And if that wasn't enough, it's also been modified to include a cocktail bar, 3 double suites, an entire garage for jet skis, and a gym. Like its owner, the Unknown is a proper beast. If you follow the footballer on Instagram, you'll definitely have seen him working out on this ship. It's definitely an eye-catcher, and a private jet to rule the air. When you're as rich as Zlatan Ibrahimovic, you're basically expected to own a private jet for personal travel. Are you even a millionaire if you don't own one of those? Well, Ibra's never been one to back off from a purchase. And sure enough, he owns a Cessna Citation Longitude, the crazy expensive plane worth a staggering $26 million. It's definitely worth the price tag, since it can hold up to 12 passengers and has a flying range of more than 4,000 miles. It's so roomy you can walk through the entire cabin without needing to crouch, and has separate areas for passengers to eat and sleep. Plus, it's got one of the quietest cabins of any plane in the world. Ibra uses the jet to fly around the globe, and honestly, if we owned a plane like this, we'd want to live in it 24/7. Then, there's the stakes in a Swedish soccer team. Though he probably won't ever admit it, it looks like Zlatan's following in the footsteps of fellow superstar David Beckham. Beckham founded his own MLS soccer team, Inter Miami, in 2018. And just a year later, Ibrahimovic was on his tracks. 2019 saw the Swedish legend buy a 25% stake in Hammarby, a top football club in Sweden. Now, Ibra's not someone who will back down from any controversies, and this was definitely a move that ruffled some feathers in Sweden. Basically, the current Milan man started his career in a club called Malmö FF, a Swedish team that thinks of Ibrahimovic as a local legend. They even made a bronze statue of Zlatan to cement his name in this club's history. Here's where things get dicey. Hammarby is one of Malmö's biggest rivals, and fans were so angry when they heard the news that they vandalized the Ibra statue outside the Malmo FF stadium. Ibrahimovic had to come out and say his purchase didn't have anything to do with who he supported and was purely business-minded, but it looks like he soured his relationship with Malmo fans for good. Up next, investments in gaming. If his investments are anything to go by, it looks like Zlatan Ibrahimovic is a bit of a gamer. What's more, he likes to play games that are a little bit out of the ordinary. Just have a look at this game called First Person Lover, which is all about firing kisses and bubbles at enemies to finish off their hate and their clothes. Yeah, we know, that sounds crazy, and not the kind of game you'd expect someone like Ibra to invest in. But if we know anything about the striker, it's that you can't predict what he'll do next. So now, he owns 12.5% of the gaming studio that made First Person Lover, which, believe it or not, is pretty popular in Sweden. Honestly, with this guy, you never know what you're going to hear next. And also, a forest in Sweden. Now, we've already covered the fact that Zlatan's got some expensive tastes, but he's also known for some flat-out weird purchases. Here's one of them. When he learned he was going to be out of the squad because of a match-related injury in 2020, Ibra decided he wanted a place away from civilization to recover from, so he ended up buying a forest. You heard that right. He bought a whole forest. The land is in the RA region of Sweden, near the border to Norway, and it set Ibrahimovic back almost 3 million euros. That's a small price to pay for the millionaire soccer player, and it's given him a nice view of some mountains and the chance to indulge in his favorite hobbies, hunting and fishing. Next, a Stockholm church. Here's another example of the lion being his eccentric self. In 2015, he bought a church in the pricey suburb of Östermalm in Stockholm. The church came with a price tag of £9.4 million, but Zlatan wasn't trying to buy himself into a priesthood. Nope, he and his wife had other plans for the building, namely converting it into a sweet residential property. And that's exactly what they did. The whole thing ended up costing them $30 million. The church is a proper townhouse now, with a cinema, a rooftop terrace, and a garage with a fully stocked bar. Ibrahimovic's family lives there most of the year, while he sweats it out in Italy playing soccer. This must be a pretty awesome place for him to visit on his time off, though. Now let's talk about gifts for the team. You might think Ibrahimovic is totally self-obsessed, but that's actually not the case. Nope, Ibra's more generous than he lets on through his public profile. And here's an example of a time the 40-year-old striker invested in his friends. In late 2020, back when COVID was still a major problem and the team morale was low, Zlatan decided to lift the club's spirits the only way he knew how, by dipping into his deep pockets and handing out gifts. So, as an early Christmas present, he got everyone in the AC Milan squad new PlayStation gaming consoles, PS5s to be exact. And when different players started sharing pictures of their new gaming setups, they let the cat out of the bag. Turns out, the Zlatanera's more caring than he'd like us to think. Lastly, full-page ads upon arrival. Now this example is classic Zlatan. After leaving Manchester United to sign for LA Galaxy in 2018, Ibra wanted to land in Los Angeles with a splash. He's just not the type of player who keeps himself quiet and under the radar. So upon reaching LA and finalizing his contract, Zlatan took out a full-page ad in the Los Angeles Times. Huge ads like that can cost more than $70,000, and that asking price might be worth it if you're using all of the space it gets you. What makes this a perfect example of Ibrahimovic being Ibrahimovic, though, is what he ended up putting in the ad. It was mostly white space with the player's signature, LA Galaxy's crest at the bottom, and at the center was a single sentence: "Dear Los Angeles, you're welcome." Now that's a pretty cocky move. That's a wrap for this video. What do you think of Ibrahimovic's life of luxury? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.